Are you discouraged because God does not seem to be hearing your prayers? Do you pray, and yet God doesn't seem to hear or help you like He promised? The story of Lazarus in John 11 is one of the most powerful reminders of God's love, His timing, and His glory. Lazarus was sick, near death. His sisters, Mary and Martha, sent word to Jesus, hoping He would come quickly and heal their brother. But Jesus didn't come right away. He stayed where He was for 2 more days, and by the time He arrived, Lazarus had already been dead for 4 days. Why did Jesus wait? Was He indifferent? Did He not care? No, His delay was intentional. His love was not absent in the waiting, it was woven into it. Jesus said, "This illness does not lead to death. It is for the glory of God, so that the Son of God may be glorified through it." His timing was perfect. His purpose was sure. He was not withholding good from Mary and Martha. He was preparing them for something greater than they could imagine. And isn't that often where we find ourselves? Waiting, praying, wondering why God hasn't moved yet. But waiting is not a sign of God's absence. It is a place where His love is at work, shaping us, drawing us closer, and preparing us to see His glory. Waiting teaches us that God's ways are higher than ours. It reminds us that our lives are not ruled by chance, but by His sovereign hand. When Jesus finally arrived in Bethany, Martha ran to Him and said, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." Maybe you felt that way before. Lord, where were you? Why didn't you come sooner? But Jesus wasn't late. He was right on time. He told Martha, "I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me, though he die, yet shall he live." And then, with a word, He called Lazarus from the grave. Jesus proved that the delay was never about neglect. It was about revealing His power. And the same is true for us. But before He raised Lazarus, something incredible happened. Jesus saw Mary weeping. He saw the sorrow of those around her, and He was deeply moved. Then, the shortest yet one of the most profound verses in Scripture, Jesus wept. Even though He knew what He was about to do, even though He knew this was all for God's glory, He still wept with them. He grieved because they grieved. He entered into their sorrow. His heart was tender toward their pain. And He is tender toward yours. He sees your hurt. He knows your struggle. He understands the discouragement you feel as you wait. Your faith may feel weak, but His love is strong. His compassions fail not. You are loved with an everlasting love. When God asks us to wait, He is not withholding good from us. He is drawing us closer to Himself. Waiting on God is not about what we lack. It is about what He is doing. It is in the waiting that He purifies our hearts, strengthens our faith, and teaches us to trust Him. It is in the waiting that He reminds us that our hope is not in outcomes, but in Him. So if you find yourself waiting today, know this: God is not absent. He is at work. His love is steady. His plans are perfect. And when the time is right, when His purpose is ready to be revealed, He will speak the word. And like Lazarus stepping from the grave, His glory will be undeniable. Until then, lift your heart in worship, trust His heart, rest in His love. Because waiting on God is never wasted. It is where we see His power, His goodness, and His faithfulness unfold.